Watching the YouTube.
Never mind.
We are recording and live streaming to YouTube. So we're ready when you are, Mr. Chairman.
What is your time, Nicole?
6:59, sir.
She's not going to tell you a different time.
I know. Just gotta ask. I just don't want to be late and violated by the Open Meetings Act.
You can be late, you just can't be early.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
You can start after the published time, but you can't start before.
Got it.
See, I was
Call a
surprised.
regular board meeting to order. Stand for the pledge, please. Isabella County Board of Commissioners. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag
of the
United States of America
and to
to the republic for which it stands,
one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We're getting better at that, you know?
I know.
The coordination. Madam Clerk, a roll call, please.
Commissioner Green,
Here, I'm at 225 in the court or county facility, Isabella County, City of Mount Pleasant.
Commissioner Engler,
Unbelievable.
Here, participating remotely from my home in Deerfield Township, Isabella County, Michigan.
Commissioner Jazinski,
Present, participating from my home in Chippewa Township, Isabella County, Michigan.
Commissioner Horton,
Here in room 225 of the Isabella County Building, City of Mount Pleasant, Isabella County. Sorry about that. Oh, I'm sorry. Present, room 225, Isabella County Building, City of Mount Pleasant,
Commissioner Horton.
Isabella County.
thank you.
There was somebody
Commissioner
else.
Marino,
here, residing in my residence here, participating remotely in Mount Pleasant, Michigan, Isabella County.
thank you. Commissioner Swaney,
Here, attending remotely from my home in Mount Pleasant, Michigan, Isabella County.
thank you. Commissioner Hope,
I'm here attending remotely from my home in the city of Mount Pleasant, Isabella County.
thank you. All present, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Item number 3 is approval of the agenda. This evening, under presentations of special reports, we have an administrator control report. We have many, approximately 16 appointments to boards and commissions. That brings us down to the consent agenda. Is there anything on the consent agenda commissioners would like to be changed after reading it, or corrections? Seeing none, brings us committee reports, finance and administration.
Finance Administration is all set, Mr. Chairman.
Criminal Justice and County Affairs Committee.
Criminal Justice and County Affairs Committee is all set, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Human Resource and Public Works Committee.
Human Resources and Public Works Committee is all set, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. We didn't have any intergovernmental affairs issues this afternoon. One item underneath the Administrator Controller, which is the resolution for the local state of no unfinished business. Under new business, we have the organizational meeting discussion.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I'd like to make an addition to the agenda, please.
Okay.
Under B, under new business,
Yep.
if you could put GELC Letter of Understanding, Wage Governor 2021.
Letter of understanding.
Mr. Chairman, when Commissioner Horton speaks, can you have his mic on because we can't hear him?
I misspoke. I'll do it again. I gotta hold down a
Thank
button.
you.
Sorry. Under B for new business, if we could add GELC Letter of Understanding, Wage Reopener 2021.
Did you get that, Nicole?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
It was Mindy.
Thank you. Any other changes to the agenda? Any no further changes, a motion to approve the agenda as amended is in order.
Motion to approve the agenda. Horton.
Support Marino.
Been moved and supported to approve the agenda as amended. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? We have an agenda. Item number 4 is general public comment. Nicole, at this time, do we have anybody in for general public comment with their hand raised?
At this time, there is no general public comment, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. We'll move on then to presentations and special reports. McAvoy, we're up for your report.
Yes. Michelle's gotta do something for me. Am I doing anything besides this, Michelle? Yeah, I can't tell where to turn it on. There you go.
I love technology.
I love technology. Just a moment, please. Why you have the IT director here? Touch anything. Mr. Chairman, thank you for that introduction. I will tell you that I am suspending and delaying my administrator controller's report for this month. And in lieu of that, we are going to have a VIP tribute to Chairman George A. Green.
Yes. Is that on the?
Okay. So are they here? Are you ready, Michelle?
She probably didn't hear you, so you might need to say it again.
Your speaker.
Oh, his speaker needs.
Oh, the back of Frank Bell, too.
All right, I think we're all set. That didn't go quite as smoothly as I had hoped for, so I apologize. Thank you for your patience. So tonight is a VIP tribute to Chairman George A. Green. We are going to start with some of our guests this evening. So the first person I'm going to call on is Frank Coutier, who is the Public Relations Director for the Saginaw Chippewa Indian Tribe. Frank?
He's muted.
He's muted.
Am I unmuted now?
Yes.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you so much for this opportunity. Chairman Green, I couldn't be more proud to be in the spot I'm in right now, paying tribute to somebody that has been an example for leadership in our community. Quite literally, on behalf of a grateful nation, I want to say in our language to you, Sir Chemigwech, for your steady hand, your solid, never deferring to others way of leadership. I know for me personally, you have quite literally been a model to follow. I can't tell you how much our tribal community appreciates your years of service, sir. I couldn't say it anymore. I want to liken back to the time a few years ago when I served as tribal chief, and you explained to me that you had never been before invited back to chambers and the tribal chief's office. And it was a very proud moment for me to have been the tribal chief at the time, to have been able to do that. And I loved our conversation. I thought it was absolutely fantastic. And, you know, as we go in leadership, we come to the table to agree, to disagree, and to agree to disagree. And you have been a solid individual in those times and in those moments. We massively appreciate all your years of service and all the work you've done, sir. Margaret, we have something to present to the chairman. Do you have that with you?
I do.
It is generally customary in our culture to drape a Pendleton blanket, which is nowadays what we offer. In times past, it would have been something that would have been created by our elder Quay, women in our community. George, that's for you. And that signifies a presentation of a blanket of protection for what may come or what comes for your future. We pray you enjoy your retirement, and I assume there's going to be many awesome fishing trips involved in that. So Chairman Green, we salute you. And like I said again, Che Miigwech in our language for so much solid leadership, sir. Thank you so much.
Frank, thank you very much for the wonderful, wonderful presentation you did and for this lovely blanket. If my mother were alive, she used to love those Pendleton blankets, the old red, black, and blue ones, you know.
Yep, absolutely.
And she would really appreciate that. But I'd just like to say one thing with the Saginaw Chippewa Indian tribe. I have never been treated so well out there. Whether we were doing controversial things that we had differences of opinion and come to a solution, or whether we were just having fun and talking about things that was going on, or if we were building something and needed a little help.
Yep.
Said it's going to be 1016 building down there, and you folks participated in that. But I really appreciate knowing the folks that I know out there, and God bless you people. You're an asset to the community, and you're straightforward every time. Thank you, Frank. Thank you, tribe and the council, for that blanket.
Oh, enjoy it and enjoy your retirement, sir. You deserve it.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Our next speaker is Jason McDonald, who's the Vice President of Operations at Mobile Medical Response, and he is going to be representing our community partnerships.
Jason, how you doing?
Doing very well, Commissioner Green. Congratulations. It is, as stated before, what an honor to be asked to speak during your last meeting as a commissioner. Truly a privilege. And, we use terms like pillar of the community, and we hear those terms tossed around and sometimes fairly loosely. But, when I think of George Green, and when Margaret first asked me to say a few words, that's one of the first things that came to my mind, was the fact that, George, you are a pillar of our community. You've been a great example of leadership. You've been a steady presence, and I asked myself, what are three things I think of when I think of George Green and his leadership and the things that I've seen over the years, and stewardship came to mind immediately. You're a calm, steady presence. You value the treasure and the humanity of Isabella County. You protect it fiercely, and you're a great steward for the people you represent and for the county as a whole. The next thing I immediately thought of was perseverance. You've faced adversity here or there. You've faced a challenge or two in the last 25 years. And one of the things that has always struck me is you face it with a trademark wit, an optimism, and a grace that is rare in people. And I've always appreciated that about you over the years. And then the third thing was courage. And I remember in 1997, and Commissioner Ling and I talked a little bit about this as we waited in the breakout room. when, speaking from personal experience, when you brought mobile medical response into Isabella County, that was a very emotional decision. And EMS and the provision of EMS in a community, it can become a very emotional thing. And it took a lot of courage on the part of you and Commissioner Lang and others at the time, as it takes throughout the years, to partner and to be able to provide that service. I looked at it through my lens at that time of a brand new paramedic working on the road in a new community. And I thought I was nervous, and I thought I had some courage working in that role. Never at that point realizing all of the things that were happening in the background that made that possible. And you were one of the driving forces behind that. And we appreciate it. And it's grown to be a great thing for the county. So those were the three things we thought of. And when I look back on what we've been able to accomplish as a group, the employees here at Mobile Medical Response, the public safety community as a whole, we wanted to give you something to recognize the fact that you have been part of that team all along. So we wanted to present you with a nice Carhartt jacket that we've had personalized for you, because I know it seems like over half of the time I call you, your wife will very politely and graciously tell me that you're in the shop and that you'll be more than happy to call me back. So we think that may come in handy for your retirement. I hope you do lots of fly fishing and traveling, but I'm almost certain you'll be in the shop at some point. So we just wanted to give that to you as a token of our appreciation and wish you the very best in your retirement.
Jason, thank you very much. I am not expecting any of that stuff. This is unbelievable. It's a very nice jacket. Carhartt designs. My golly, but I want to say this, MMR, the time that Commissioner Lane and myself, Larry Belty, Dick Curtis, John Lewis, and all of them back there, brought it forward and passed it. You've been outstanding. And if you really look at the last RFP, you must have done something right, because you were the only ones that
Well, I appreciate that.
I'm not running anybody down, that's not the case, but I mean, MMR, second to none.
Well, I appreciate that.
Your comments on
It's our pleasure. We wish you the very best in your retirement.
I'll take this off top.
Let me help you. Did you see your names on it?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Thank you again, Jason.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Man, I'm getting spot.
I know, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work being honored. Our next speaker is Tim Newport, who's the Director of Community Development, representing the department heads.
Good evening, Commissioner Green.
Hi, Tim.
How are you?
Good.
Good. So I'd like to really just make a brief statement here. I'd like to start out by thanking you for your service as a Isabella County Commissioner, serving on the County Commission for 24 years and 9 years of that as chairman. It's quite an accomplishment. Your leadership and guidance, your policy making over the past 20 years as a department head for me will leave a long lasting impression on the county and the community as a whole, I believe. With that said, on behalf of myself and the Isabella County department heads, both past and present, we'd like to congratulate you and wish you the very best in your future endeavors. Congratulations, Commissioner Green.
Thank you very much. And thank all the department heads and elected officials that had you come forward and compliment me for them. I know if we had a presentation there like Commissioner Ling had, it'd probably take half a day, and we'd have to leave half a keg of beer just to help out. That's what things are, but I appreciate it, Tim, and I just want to say I'm glad I'm not on the planning commission. Commissioner Horton's shuffling over here, so.
There's always opportunities, Commissioner Green. The boards open up quite frequently. Would love to have you back.
Well, you want to go cut the log down or cut the tree down and make a log and then cut a, no, we won't go into that right now. Thank everybody for me if you would when you see them.
I will definitely do that. I'll pass it along. Thank you very much and congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tim. Our next speaker is Sheriff Michael Main, who's representing the elected officials.
Sheriff Main, how you doing, Chief?
I'm good, Chairman Green. I was looking at some of the information and they said like 23 years. So I thought, why would anyone do that for 23 years? So I looked up the pay and I determined that wasn't it. That had nothing to do with the pay. But you know, really what it is it's that dedication and determination to and commitment to your community. And there's a lot of people that don't have that anymore, and it stands strong to say you were there for that long and took care of the county for that long. So that's awesome. You know, you gave me tremendous support when I was appointed as sheriff, and you know, you continued throughout the time with the sheriff's office, and I know you give support to all the elected officials, and we greatly appreciate that. Me personally, I certainly appreciate that. You know, coming into stuff that I was not familiar with, you helped me along the path, and that was great. I will tell you, I never in a million years did I think I'd be in a construction project like I am. And I'll never forget the day that the decision was made and you looked at me and said, I guess we're building a jail. And I thought, well, that's exciting. And I thought, oh my God, that's horrifying. That's scary. So it's been a little bit of both, and it's been exciting, but you know, the leadership and your experience has really pushed us forward. And this is going to be a great facility, and you know, you have a huge hand in this, and we can't wait to invite you back for the some of the dedications and different things. So I did hear though, you got to be careful on retirement. Carol mentioned something about she had a lot of the honeydew list that you hadn't gotten done. So I wouldn't be making any fishing or hunting trips anytime soon. I think she has some things for you to do at home. So just keep that in mind. And I'm going to end it with one last request from the chairman. If you buy a cell phone, please share your cell phone number with me. Congratulations. Good luck.
Do you remember the first time we met, Sheriff? Commissioner Beltnick put me on the LEPC, and you were working, I believe, for the Saginaw Chippewa Indian Tribe. And we sat on the LEPC for, I'll bet 10 years, because David Ling put me on there after Dick Curtis passed away. He put me on there, and that was quite an experience. And that's where I learned about your beliefs and the way you were and habits. I thought you'd make a darn good sheriff, and you do.
I appreciate that, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff. Thank you for everything you do, keeping us safe.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Thank you.
Our next speaker was scheduled to be our state representative, Roger Hope, but he has sent me word that they are still in session in Lansing. And he sends his regrets, but wishes you the best and thanks you for your service, and he will be in contact with you.
Oh, Roger used to work with me when he was a kid.
There you go. Our next speaker is Chief Judge Eric James from the Isabella County Trial Court.
Thank you, Margaret. Good evening, Chairman Green.
Good evening, sir.
I tell you, it's a real honor for me to be able to congratulate you on behalf of myself, the other judges, my court administrator and staff. We all want to extend our real sincere congratulations for your retirement. I can't tell you what a pleasure it's been to work with you. As I've listened to the other speakers, a couple of things have come up that I didn't even put in my notes. The relationship that the courts had with you throughout the years is very uncommon. Many courts have such trouble with their funding units and the difficulties to work with them. We've never really had that problem. And I think that's because of your open-mindedness, your leadership, and just your sense of fairness and common sense. It's been unbelievable working with you. When I was appointed chief judge, the very first meeting I scheduled was with you, if you'll recall that. And we've had a really good working relationship, and I've appreciated it. We've tackled some difficult issues between the court and the county over the years. One of the good things we did was the planning and construction of a new courthouse. It was quite an undertaking at the time. And you may not know this, but my predecessor, you've always been quoted with the saying that you indicated that we'll do this project, but it's not going to come in $1 over budget. And it didn't. We've appreciated the fact that you saw our need and you honored the court's request for additional funding for court security when we had some real tragedies a few years ago, both in the courtroom and outside. You've recently marshaled in the county's job classification and work study project. As with some of the other speakers, I've tried to think about what distinguishes you in your career. And I've really thought about this hard. And one thing is, I really believe your work has been grounded in a real sense of public service to our community, not just certain factions, but the entire community. And you've done an excellent job with all of the entities and balancing the different requests. I believe you've understood your role in the process and you've done a great job with it. You've discharged all your duties and responsibilities honestly, ethically, with integrity and humility. You've always been very, very committed to civility, and I appreciate that in all of our meetings and in your commission meetings. I think one of your greatest attributes is that you use common sense approach and you do things the right way. And everybody that I've ever talked to that's worked with you appreciates that. So on behalf of, again, of myself and the court, I want to thank you for your service, not only to the community, but specifically to our court. I appreciate our friendship. I wish you the good health and happiness in your future endeavors, and congratulations on your retirement. It's been an honor working with you.
Thank you very much, Judge. Appreciate everything you said. And I told all the judges over there and you, there's only one thing I don't want to do with the courts, is that's come in front of you. But I think I do treat it fairly because you treat me fairly over there. If you're done wrong, then you have to pay for it. I respect that. Thank you, Judge.
Thank you very much. Congratulations.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is David Ling, who's the former vice chair and chairman of the Isabella County Board of Commissioners. Chairman Ling.
Commissioner Ling.
You're muted, Mr. Ling.
Yep, there we go. Hi, George.
Hi, David.
I'm really honored also to be able to speak to you this evening on your completion of your final term as member of the board and its chairman. I'm particularly pleased because it means both you and I are still here to enjoy this occasion, and that might have been a concern. We've known each other now for almost a quarter of a century. We were elected together back in 1996, and we were first paired together on the Criminal Justice and County Affairs Committee that time. We were pretty much strangers to each other, but became good friends really early and stayed friends ever since then. Some would have said we were a fairly unlikely pairing. Going down the hall, we probably resembled Mutt and Jeff more than anything else, although I think probably the more accurate description would have been the odd couple. I'll let others figure out who was Oscar and who was Felix, but I don't think that'll take a lot of thought. We certainly came from different backgrounds. I was a Democrat, you were a Republican. Almost all my experience was in urban settings, and you represented a rural community well. I was always risk averse, and you were always wanting to follow in the steps of Evel Knievel. So those are fairly different ways of, I think, looking at the world. And yet our friendship worked. And I'd like to think it was more than our mutual love for cigars. I think it worked probably mostly because we liked and respected and we learned from each other. I knew very little about rural life. I now know what a steer skidder is, and I was sure I would never figure that one out. And I know now that people who are in dairy farming rarely sit on a stool with a bucket under a cow anymore. So I think I learned a lot from you. We would argue and disagree, not often, but sometimes, but it was always over issues, and it was never questions of people's motivation or questions of anybody's intelligence. And I think we were fortunate that we worked with other commissioners over those 22 years who shared the same values. And it was a group that saw service to the community above party or about personal advancement. And for the most part, I think we've all liked and respected each other. And George, there's no question in my mind that over those many years, you have been the voice and the leader that has made us able to accomplish the many things that I think we successfully did over those years. I was going to call you a gentleman and a scholar, but I was afraid you'd be insulted by that. So instead, I went to what I think are three reasons, some of which people have already talked about tonight. One is you've always been the most knowledgeable member of the board on almost any topic. You came to meetings more than prepared, often going well beyond the packet to understand an issue. I think that was nowhere more conspicuous than in your understanding of budget. I recall when we first came on the board, neither of us knew much about budget. Your feeling was that it was probably not very useful, and that having a room that you simply stuck all the money in, cut a hole in it, and then when you needed money, you reached in, and when you couldn't reach any more, you were through for the year. Obviously, that wasn't a model that worked very well. But your thoroughness and understanding of budget over the years has helped this board make some critical decisions and has often identified errors that would have been missed and were often missed by our accountants and even our auditors. So whatever the issue was, from wastewater treatment to wind turbines, from recycling to our complex public health care system, you did the work that made you the most useful, knowledgeable, and I think insightful member of the board. I think the second reason that you have been so successful is because of what several people have talked about, and that's your personal commitment to community. You used to joke that you weren't an R or a D or an I, and it took me an awful long time to figure out how that was even possible. Let's face it, George, you're a Republican. In the very best sense of that term, even being used by a Democrat. That is, you're conservative, you're a believer in limited government, and you're fiscally cautious. Some would say frugal, but I think that does an injustice to the term frugal. Let's just say you tightly hold on to the financial pockets of an organization. But your work always started not with the question of what is it going to cost or how can we possibly do it? It was, what does this community need and how do we get there? And as a result of that, you worked with this board has always been bipartisan, always looking for ways in which we could come together and work effectively. That probably explains why in one of the more unusual moves by this board, when the former chair decided not to run for the chairmanship again, something to do with reaching ages of senility, I think. The majority of what was then a board with a majority of Democratic members chose you unanimously to become chairman of the board. And for the last 9 years, varying majorities have continued to place you in that leadership role, an indication of people's sense that you respect and understand and are willing to work for the betterment of the community. And finally, George, as some others have said, as a leader, you've always been fair, you've always been courteous, and you've always been open. You're a good listener. You ask good questions, and by and large, treat all with kindness and respect. I've rarely seen you get angry, George, although I have seen that happen on a few occasions. But you always do that out of the public eye, never in an attempt to embarrass anybody that disagrees with you. And by and large, when you get really angry, it is not because of a disagreement over policy. It is because someone has chosen to question the motives of others and or their worth. And I think that says much about how you view other human beings and much of what you brought to this board. So, George, in my mind, there's no question when you end your time on this board, as you end your time on this board, it will be a loss. Your strong leadership, your wealth of knowledge, and your sense of humor are going to be missed. And but I think you're going to leave behind a legacy and the spirit of respect and commitment to community that is rare in these years. And I'm quite confident that the board that you leave behind you will continue to reflect that kind of group commitment. It's been a privilege to have served with you, George, and it's an honor to call you my friend. So at this point, were things different, I would love to shake your hand and give you a big bear hug, which is not possible, of course. So I have a co-conspirator in the audience that has a modest gift from me to you.
Really?
Has any co-conspirator come forward?
Yes.
Yes, she is.
My wife.
That's one of the conspirators, yes.
You don't call me anymore, David. Miss your phone calls.
David, I'm lighting up.
Well, George, as Frank Sinatra would say, that's one for the road.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, my friend. Love you.
One thing, Commissioner Lane. I don't know if you remember when the first meeting we had, Larry Beltlick was chair, and he went around between all of us and he was asking us what we thought of the county commission and what you expected to do. And you were chair of the criminal justice, you were first, and he came to me and I said, well, I thought we drank whiskey and smoked cigars and made deals. And he just laughed as well. He goes, good idea, Commissioner Green, but we can't do it down here. So, David, thank you very much, and thank you for the cigar.
You're
Our next presenter is going to be the vice chairman of the board, Jim Horton. George, I'm going to have you stand up, George. I'm going to have you stand, George, right here on the blue thing on the bottom of the floor, right there. There you go.
I don't deserve it.
You might be surprised.
A tribute to George A. Green in recognition of outstanding public service. Whereas George A. Green has served as a member of the Isabella County Commission from 1997 to the present. And whereas after nearly a quarter of a century as a member of this board, Commissioner Green will be retiring at the end of this year. And whereas he has served as a member of the Criminal Justice and County Affairs Committee from 1997 until 2011, chairing the committee for 14 years, and also served continuously for much of his tenure on the Material Recovery Facility Advisory Board, the Co-Expo Board, and the Central Michigan District Health Department Board from 2003 to the present. And whereas his tireless work on behalf of his community is also reflected in the numerous other boards on which he has served, including ACAP Governing Board, the Central Dispatch 911 Board, Northern Michigan Substance Abuse, Clare Local Development Finance Authority, Central Area Michigan Works Consortium, Great Lakes Bay Michigan Works Workforce Development Board, and the Local Emergency Planning Committee. Commissioner Green served on all these boards for numerous years, often as their chair. And whereas during his years on the board, Commissioner Green was the unofficial overseer of all major county construction, including as a member of the steering committee for the building of the county trial court facility, chair of the ad hoc committee for the new commission on aging, member of the ad hoc committee on the county's first non-critical substance abuse facility, and is finishing his tenure as a member of the jail ad hoc committee. On all these projects, he provided insight, sage advice, and assurance that projects met the highest quality of construction with the maximum value for the investment. And whereas George Green was elected as chairman of the board in 2012 and has unanimously been reelected each year since then, on a board elected on partisan tickets, George Green has worked to keep the focus of the board on the needs of the community and made the board a truly bipartisan, collegial, and effective governmental body. He has been a strong fiscal conservative with an ability to sustain the fiscal integrity of the county while leading the county into ever improving services and programs. Therefore, Be it resolved that the Isabella County Board of Commissioners, on behalf of the citizens of Isabella County, expresses our sincere appreciation and gratitude to Chairman George A. Green for his years of service to this community, and extends best wishes to George Green and his family for success and happiness in all his future endeavors.
I appreciate that. I had no idea I was going to get anything like this. You know, when you're elected official, oh my God. My own gavel?
I've gone deaf in this year over the last couple of years.
When you get elected to a board like this, basically you go down there and you do the best for the people that elect you first. But as Commissioner Ling said, sooner or later you'll realize you're down there for the county. To help everybody, help things come out. And the pay is what, I mean, it's not the pay. It's what you're elected to do. Your work and ability to help people out, do things for them, make the place a better place than what you saw. And that's what I think this board and the board we have right now has done. This board's a good board. Nothing wrong with it. It'll continue on, carry on the progress that, as I said, the Larry Beltnick, Dick Curtis, David Ling, George Green era is over. I'm the last KMT out of that board of 97, David said. But this board will carry on. One new member, training as you go, get on the road, make good decisions. And I know the folks on this board, and I got great encouragement and great thoughts. They'll do good jobs. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for this.
I will package them up for you so they don't get scratched on the way. I know, I got you, we got your own gavel.
Is that brass?
Of course.
That was one of you guys.
It's not coming to me. So.
Here's Chair. Here's Faith.
So we're going to continue on with comments from the commissioners. And so I would like to call on Commissioner Jagodzinski to begin.
Thank you. I don't think I can find words better than the previous speakers on trying to identify your positive personal qualities or your leadership qualities. You know, what I really like about this board, and it's the leadership of not only David Ling and yourself and the commissioners that preceded us, but it's the nonpartisan. As Parks and Recreation Director, I'd seen other boards in Isabella County that were not so well attuned. And I think it's your character and your leadership that has gotten us down the road where we actually serve the people and not real strong in party politics. And I thank you for that. I'm going to kind of recall an incident. You'll probably remember it, George. I hunted a piece of property in the northern part of the county, and my friend's tractor, I used it. And I had a chance. I was out on the property, and all of a sudden the tractor quit operating. And I didn't know what to do. I kept monkeying around with it. So finally I called George Green. And I went home. I told George it was parked out in the middle of the field. And a couple of days later, I called him up and he said, well, the tractor ran out of gas. But he says, and then the battery was dead. And I'm thinking, okay, he's trying to help me save face a little bit by telling me that the battery was also dead. So maybe that was the reason why I didn't, wasn't just the matter of running out of gas. And now I find out that you chair that Criminal Justice and County Affairs Committee. And here I am coming in as a newbie county commissioner in 2014. And you assigned me to chair that committee. And I'm thinking, are you out of your mind? You probably could have called me dumb as stump. That's probably the type of thing that was in the back of your mind, but you never did express that. You never did make me feel small over that. And I appreciate the mentoring that you have given me. If I've had questions, I can give you a call. If you have issues, you give me a call. And while we may not always agree on everything, you respected my right as a commissioner to represent my beliefs and my constituents. And I think that speaks very well for you. I want to go back a little bit further in my last year as Parks and Recreation Director for the county. And I know David Ling was on the county Board of Commissioners, you were, and some of the other people you noted earlier. But at that time, we had worked a number of years to bring the PR McHat Rail Trail from Midland County to the Clare County line. And here we had basically a gift package where there would be no cost to the county for the property, no cost to the county for the multi-million development that it would take to pave that trail and prepare it. When it came before the Parks and Recreation Commission, a slim majority of the commission turned that project down. I can't tell you how disheartened I was at that. But within a week, the county board said, if the Parks and Recreation Commission is not interested, the county board will take up this grant and move on with the trail. And so today we have this beautiful rail trail up in the northeast corner of our county, which would not have come into being if it not had been for the leadership of the board. So all these years that I've known you, George, I thank you. I'm honored to know you. And hopefully when I have questions about my new John Deere tractor, which I know you have stock in that company, you'll help me out. Thank you very much, George.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jalodzinski. I appreciate the kind words and all the thoughts that went through some of the problems we've had. So thank you very much.
Commissioner Engler? Muted.
Oh, there you go. I had to unmute myself. Yeah, I'd also like to thank George when I first came on. He put me under his wings a little bit. It's kind of, we always had a lot in common, being from the area and doing agriculture. And he put me on the Parks Committee, which I really enjoyed, and the Resource Management, which kind of fits everything in there. But we're going to miss you, George. I'm sure I'm going to be around, and we're going to run in. Beale City's a small community, so I'm sure we'll be running into each other quite a few times. So, but I really enjoyed the time we spent together. So I hope you enjoy your retirement. And like you said, maybe we can talk you into getting on a few committees after a year.
Thank you very much, Frank. Appreciate it. Well, that was when we did organizational meetings. I called everybody up, and it's a tough thing as a chairperson if you're going to come and to be able to put people in all the positions that they like. There's a lot of times you maybe get one, but some of them are different. You just do the best you can with the folks that are out there. But thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Commissioner Moreno?
Thank you. I just want to say that I've learned so much from you, Commissioner Green. We're quite different, really, on our approaches and perspectives, but you've always respected me. And like I said, I learned a lot from you. You're so focused on details and seeing the things that a lot of other people don't see. That's so important. And even though you're an old school guy, I'm really, really excited about how you really got behind Isabella Wind, and we all worked together. That's just one project that we did. And that's very forward looking. And I'm so happy that all of the members of this board all work together, and all the staff and all the community. And also, I've always been impressed because we've served on a lot of committees together. I've always been impressed how other people too in other counties really, really have a good time with you, respect you, learn with you, work with you. And I'm just glad that I served with you, and I wish you nothing but good health and good luck after this. I'm sure we'll see each other.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Moreno. There's only one thing that I haven't done yet, and that's secured a cellular phone. And
Oh, really?
And I don't know if I ever will. They're quite complicated. I was watching people trying to get computers to work down through there and this, and Michelle was kind of working on stuff to get things going, and there's a lot of problems still today in this stuff, but whatever. Thank you very much for your comment.
Commissioner Swaney?
All right, I would say I came in new to the commission in 2019, and I would say right from the start, you showed friendship, mentoring, and just an openness that I look forward into bringing to the commission here in the following 2 years to kind of, you know, keep flowing from what you've done over these 24 years, which is truly amazing that you've done this for that long. It shows a very impressive, strong commitment to the Isabella community. And I really hope the best for you here in your future, landing a lot of fish.
Well, Commissioner Sweeney, thank you very much. I thought in your profession, though, that I understand you're in as a brewmaster, that we might be able to partake in one sometime.
Definitely after this is over.
Thank you, Mr. Sweeney.
Commissioner Hope?
Thank you. Commissioner Green, I remember when I was running for this seat back in 2016, I remember how friendly and helpful and supportive you were. And there was a candidate forum at the Commission on Aging, and you took the time to meet everyone that was running. You took the time to talk to them. And then when you spoke, you thanked everyone for running. And then when I got on this board, something you said to me really stuck with me. And I've heard you say it many times since, but you said, I don't see you as a Republican or a Democrat. I see you as Tobin Hope. And I've heard you say that many times. And like I say, I was pleasantly surprised by the lack of partisanship on this board. Just kind of work together and take care of business. And I think your friendship with David Lang, also with John Haupt, kind of illustrates that fact that we do just work together, whether we have an R or a D in front of our name really doesn't make that much difference. And I've seen you steer this board through some challenges, always with skill and nuance and respect for people and their opinions. You've set the tone for this board, and I've learned a lot from you. And I thank you. You're a fine public servant, and I thank you for your service to this community.
Tobin, thank you very much. You hit on a nail there that I wish would happen. I wish that the parties would go away and you'd actually vote for people to go down and represent you. And in Lansing or Washington, that the RD&I thing was not there, the people got along and you made deals and made things correct and helped them out instead of arguing and wasting money on senseless objections to one another. But thank you very much for your comments.
Commissioner Horton?
Thank you. After my long-winded resolution there, I had to come back and drink lots of water.
You're muted, Jim.
I think the very first thing that I remember coming on the board was the dinners in between our meetings. I had the opportunity no problem. I think what I remember coming on the board as a new board commissioner, I had served on the various boards through the county, being on school board and also being on Union Township trustee. But when I came on this board, in between meetings, I remember the very first thing, Commissioner Horton, let's go down and get some dinner. Okay. And then you and Commissioner Ling, and we all went down, we had a good conversation and everything. And on the way back, you guys kind of hung around the front. I go, what are those guys doing? We got 20 or so minutes. I'm going to go. And all of a sudden, as we saw tonight, a couple cigars were lit and you guys are just sitting there talking. And I thought to myself, wow, that's what it's about. And these guys are, those two gentlemen I got the utmost respect for those two gentlemen. I guess other than the word respect for you, George, probably even a bigger word to me is integrity. I always felt that when I've come to you, you're not going to give me a BS answer. You're not going to tell me exactly what I want to hear. You're going to tell me what you believe. You're not going to lie to me. And if you tell me something, I can believe it. Some things I've talked to you about that I didn't want to hear. Some things you and I have shared that, you know, only two people can share as far as some conversations we've had over the years. I'm going to miss driving and talking to you. I'm going to miss hearing you scream at me when, God darn it, got those cell phones and they go out of service. I talked for 5 minutes and you weren't even there. No, that sort of thing. So I'm going to miss that, and the community is going to miss that. Yes, it's a good thing that you're retiring, and yes, Carol's going to gain even more of your time, so she's going to be the one that benefits the most. But you're going to be a big loss. At the same time, you're going to be a big get. This community is going to gain from your knowledge and your experience and everything you've taught us, as far as myself and the other 5 members on the board and the 6th one coming on, the additional one. If we can all emulate you, we're going to succeed. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
In recognition of George A. Green, Isabella County Board of Commissioners member, January 1st, 1997 to December 31st, 2020. Chairman, January 1st, 2012 to December 31st, 2020. Served with integrity, leadership, and honor.
Thank you very much, Margaret.
So I want to say a couple things as the administrator controller, if you don't mind, if I can just have a minute. I think we all searched the words to best describe George Green, and I don't know that our regular words can describe George Green. He is a unique person. You know, when people first meet Chairman Green, I think that they are not sure exactly what makes George Green who George Green is, but all of us have commented tonight on who he is. He is selfless. He's a visionary. He's confident in himself. He's thoughtful. He has a great sense of humor. He's supportive. He's honorable. He's informed. He's empowering. He's decisive, and he's humble. I'm not going to look at you. I'm going to cry. So I just want to say a couple things. You know, Chairman Green, you changed my life. You changed my life. You renewed my belief in public service. You gave me an opportunity to hit the reset button. You allowed me to lead as the administrator controller. You supported me. Your legacy here is going to live on for a very, very long time in hundreds of different ways, big and small. And from Margaret McAvoy to George Green, I just want to say thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Margaret. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
I just want to say one thing, Margaret, this is in George Green and this board also. When we hired you, you know, we lost an administrator, Tim Delahaney, and he went south for a lot more money, but I always believed if I'm going to hire somebody to do a job, you let that person do that job. If that person can't do the job, that's something you have to deal with. But you had experience in Shiawassee County as being an administrator. And if I start to override you or contradict you or tell you not to do things that you had experience with, let the leadership take over. Get on the road. We had many talks. I might have said, Margaret, you sure you want to do this? Yes. And this is why, and it worked. But if you keep pressuring people and not let them take on the role that you hired them for, that's like me hiring a mechanic and I want to go out there and do the work he's doing and he stands around watching me or hold a pencil or writing things down. That guy's going down the road. And you've made the road very smooth and nice to travel. You've done a heck of a job here in the 7 years you've been here, and I appreciate it.
Thank you. We're going to miss you, that's for sure.
I want to thank everybody for the comments and all the stuff that's said tonight. I didn't know it was that darn good. You gotta say something. I just, you don't know how people feel about you till you make a decision to do something different than what you're doing. And I've come to the point that like I said, the Beltnick, Curtis, Ling Green regime is over and it's time for new people to take over. This board will do a great job. I've got a lot of confidence in you. If you won't, I'm coming through the door, come down here and talk to you.
There you go.
So we'll just have a discussion that way. Right, Jason?
Chairman Green, could we take a couple-minute recess so that Michelle can undo some of it? Are you all set? We're good. Let's just roll on then. Okay.
Are we ready to start?
Chairman Green, I'd like now, if we can, since we're going to return back to the meeting, I'd like to amend the agenda one more time. Under new business, if I could add C and make that under C, if we could put resolution number 20-12-01, tribute to George A. Green. Under new business, we'll call that under C, under new business. Under new business, I'm going to add C. We have A and B now. If I could make C and make that resolution number 20-12-01, tribute to George A. Green.
We've amended the agenda. Does anybody have any trouble with that? There's something wrong with it, Michelle.
Just pretend she's not there. You just stay here, Michelle. You're good. You go ahead, Chairman. We're good.
Being we're through with the administrator controller report, we will start on appointments to boards and commissions. Most of these are incumbents or singles until we get down to the multiples down here, but start with item A, the Board of Public Works. The chairman's request for nominations for one opening on the Isabella County Board of Public Works for a 3-year term ending December 31st, 2023, or until a successor is appointed. Nominations are now open. Are there any nominations? Commissioner Marino.
I'd like to nominate Jeremy Murphy.
Jeremy Murphy's. Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? Commissioner Jelinski.
I'll move nominations be closed. A unanimous ballot be cast for Jeremy Murphy for appointment to the Isabella County Board of Works.
Support for that?
Support by Engler.
Been moved and supported to appoint Jeremy Murphy to the Board of Public Works.
Mr. Chairman?
Favor of the motion, yes, Commissioner Jones.
Point of order. When somebody applies to a board or a commission and they have two listed, do we usually follow up with a call to see if they want an appointment to both? In other words, I know
Nobody else on there, Commissioner Jalzinski?
I know Jeremy Murphy's incumbent and looking to be reappointed to Parks and Recreation Commission. So I was wondering if, I have to go back and look, but I was wondering if he put down both and he wants both. Or is it either or?
Yeah,
I can answer
Margaret?
that. His form has both Parks and Recreation Commission and Board of Public Works.
Mr.
And so,
Chairman,
the only question I had is if somebody had somebody called him to see if he wants both,
No,
or is he just looking for one appointment? Okay,
Yeah, there's two.
Chairman?
Yes,
yeah, Jeremy's been on the Parks and Rec Board, and he was on I believe he was on the zoning board at the same time, so he's already been on two boards at one time, so,
been on both of them, Frank.
yes,
Okay.
thank
same
you.
time.
Any other discussion? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Jeremy Murphy will be notified that he's on the Board of Public Works. Item B is the Commission on Aging Advisory Board, District 1. Chairman's request for nomination for one opening on the Isabella County Commission on Aging Advisory Board as the District 1 representative for a 3-year term ending December 31st, 2023, or until a successor is appointed. Nominations are now open. Are there any nominations?
Mr. Chairman, I would nominate Jacqueline Curtis.
Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations?
I'll move that we close nominations and cast a unanimous ballot for Jacqueline Curtis.
Support.
Been moved and supported to close nominations for Jackie Curtis to be the Isabella County Commission on Aging representative. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Jackie Curtis is appointed. Item C is the Commission on Aging Advisory Board, District 4. Chairman's request for nominations for one opening on the Isabella County Commission on Aging Advisory Board as the District 4 representative for a 3-year term ending December 31st, 2023, or until a successor is appointed. Nominations are now open. Are there any nominations?
Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, I'd like to nominate John Dents as Commission on Aging Advisory Board, District 4.
Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? Commissioner Marino.
I move that nominations be.
You're muted.
Oh, he's good.
I move that a unanimous ballot be nominations be closed and
Jim, we can't hear you.
I can.
I can't.
I can.
Yeah.
I can hear you.
Okay.
I
sorry.
wasn't muted.
Oh,
I
I wasn't
apologize.
muted. Okay, want me to do it again? I can. I move that nominations be closed and a unanimous ballot be cast for John Dempsey.
thank you, Commissioner Marino. There's a second for that.
Support.
Been moved and supported to approve John Dempsey as a Commission on Major Advisory Board for District 4. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? John Dempsey's elected. Item D is the Construction Board of Appeals, Architectural, Engineering, Trade. Chairman's request for nominations for one opening on the Isabella County Construction Board of Appeals as the Architectural, Engineering, Trade Representative for a 2-year term ending December 31st, 2022, or until a successor is appointed. Nominations are now open. Are there any nominations? Are there any nominations?
I'll nominate Gerald Stewart for the Construction Board of Appeals, Architectural Engineering Trade.
Is there a support? Or is a nomination? Excuse me. Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations?
Nominations be closed and unanimous ballot be cast for Gerald Stewart.
Is there support?
Engler.
Been moved and supported that Gerald Stewart would be the Construction Board of Appeals, Architectural and Engineering Trade. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Joe Stewart. Moving on. Item E is the Construction Board of Appeals Building Trade. I think we have somebody in the audience that used to be in this. Motion reads, Chairman's request for nominations for one opening on the Isabella County Construction Board of Appeals as a building trade representative for a 2-year term ending December 31st, 2022, until a successor is appointed. Nominations are now open. Are there any nominations? Are there any?
Mr. Chairman,
I will nominate Gerald Kowinski for the Board of Appeals.
Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations?
I move nominations be closed and a unanimous ballot be cast for Gerald Konwinski for the Construction Board of Appeals Building Trade.
Is there support? It's been moved and supported that Jerry Kolowinski be appointed to the Construction Board of Appeals Building Trade. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Gerald Kolowinski will be notified. Item F is the Construction Board of Appeals Plumbing Trade. Chairman's request for nominations for one opening on the Isabella County Construction Board of Appeals as the plumbing trade representative for a 2-year term ending December 31st, 2022, or until a successor is appointed. Nominations are now open. Are there any nominations? Chair, Commissioner Jalazinski.
I nominate Robert Myers for the Construction Board of Appeals Plumbing Trade.
Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations?
I'll move that we close nominations and cast a unanimous ballot for Robert Myers for the Construction Board of Appeals Plumbing Trade.
Support.
Been moved and supported to elect Robert Myers to the Construction Board of Appeals Plumbing Trade. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Robert Myers will be notified. The 911 Advisory Board. Here's an old name. Chairman's request for nominations for one opening on the Isabella County 911 Advisory Board for a 2-year term ending December 31st, 2022, or until a successor is appointed. Nominations are now open. Are there any nominations? Commissioner?
I'd like to nominate John Hope for 911 Advisory Board.
John Hope will be put in. Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that nominations be closed and a unanimous ballot be cast for Mr. John Howe.
Is there support for that, Mr. Jalazinski?
Support.
Been moved and supported to appoint John Hope to the 911 Advisory Board. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Mr. Hope will be notified. Item H is the Materials Recovery Facility Advisory Board. Chairman's request for nominations for one opening on the Isabella County Materials Recovery Facility Advisory Board for a 2-year term ending December 31st, 2022, or until a successor is appointed. Nominations are now open. Are there any nominations? Are there any nominations?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to nominate Ann Jensen.
And Jensen, are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? Mr. Hope?
Mr. Chairman, I'll move at this time to close nominations and cast a unanimous ballot for Ann Jensen for the Materials Recovery Facility Advisory Board.
Support Marino.
Been moved and supported to approve Ann Jensen to the Materials Recovery Facility Advisory Board. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ann Jensen's name is put on that. Item I is the Parks and Recreation Commission. Chair's request for nominations for 2 openings on the Isabella County Parks and Recreation Commission for a 3-year term ending December 31st, 2023, or until a successor is appointed. Gentlemen, I'd like to take these individually. That's what we've always done. We'll just do it twice because they're both encumbrance. Are there any nominations?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to
Mr. Engler.
nominate I'd like to nominate Jerry Murphy for the Parks and Recreation Commission.
Jerry Murphy will be on it. Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations?
I move nominations be closed and a unanimous ballot cast for Jeremy Murphy for Parks and Recreation Commission.
Support.
Been moved and supported for Jeremy Murphy to be on the Parks and Recreation Commission for a 3-year term. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Jeremy Murphy will be notified. Parks and Recreation Commission, again, Chairman's request for nomination for 2 openings on the Isabella County Parks and Recreation Commission for a 3-year term ending December 31st, 2023, or until a successor is appointed. Nominations are now open. Are there any nominations?
Mr. Chairman,
Mr.
I'd like to
Swaney,
nominate Randy Bassold for Parks and Recs Commission.
are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? Mr. Engler?
Oh, I will make a motion to close the nominations and cast unanimous ballot for Randy Vassold for Parks and Recreation Commission.
Thank you, sir. Been moved and supported for Randy Vassell to be on the Parks and Recreation Commission for a 3-year term ending December 31st, 2023. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Randy Vassel's there. Item J is the Planning Commission, and we have 2 incumbents. The board can take this as they want. If they want to put the incumbents back on there, that's fine, but this is for 3 openings. And then we can open it up between Adam Brookins, Kyle Camp, and Tim Wolf. Planning Commission, the chairman's request for 3 openings on the Isabella County Planning Commission for a 3-year term ending December 31st, 2023, or until a successor is appointed. Nominations are now open. Are there any nominations?
Mr. Chairman. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Jim.
I'd like to nominate Ann Silker for the Planning Commission.
Who'd you nominate, Jim?
Ann Silker.
Okay. Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations?
Mr. Chairman, I will nominate Tim O'Neill.
Tim O'Neill? Okay. Are there any other nominations?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I would like to nominate Kyle Camp.
Kyle Cairns? Kyle Cairns' name's in there. Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? Commissioner Jalodzienski.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we close nominations and elect Kyle Camp, Tim O'Neill, and Selker to the Planning Commission.
Is there support for that?
Unanimous ballot.
Support.
Support, been moved and supported. Been moved and supported that Kyle Camp, Tim O'Neill, and Ann Silker will be the 3 openings on the Isabella County Planning Commission. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Kyle Camp, Tim O'Neill, and Ann Silker will be notified. Moving on. Item K is the Planning Commission again. You want to chair, Michelle?
No, I've asked her.
Okay. This is the chairman's request for 1 opening on the Isabella County Planning Commission to complete a 3-year term ending December 31st, 2022, or until a successor is appointed. Nominations are now open. Are there any nominations?
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
If Mr. Chairman, yes, I would, if I can't nominate you, sir, because your name is not on this list, I would like to nominate Mr. Adam Brookins.
Adam Brookins will be on there. Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to close nominations and cast a unanimous ballot for Adam Brookins for Planning Commission.
Support Jalodzienski.
Been moved and supported to approve Adam Brookins as the Planning Commission member to complete a 3-year term ending December 31st, 2022. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Adam Brookins will be on that then. Item L is the Transportation Commission, Chairman's request for nominations for one opening on the Isabella County Transportation Commission for a 3-year term ending December 31st, 2023, or until a successor is appointed. Nominations are now open. Are there any nominations? Commissioner Jeleniski.
I nominate Don Brown for the Transportation Commission.
Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations?
Mr. Chairman, I'll move that we close nominations and cast a unanimous ballot for Donald Brown for Transportation Commission.
Support.
Been moved and supported to approve Donald Brown for the Transportation Committee for a 3-year term ending December 31st, 2023. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Don Brown will be notified. Don Brown's an old member of that committee. He's been there a long time. In fact, I think he's, or the Commission on Aging's daughter or father. Isn't he?
Yes.
Item number M is the Zoning Board of Appeals. This is the chairman's request for nominations for one opening on the Isabella County Zoning Board of Appeals for a 3-year term ending December 31st, 2023, or until a successor is appointed. Nominations are now open. Are there any nominations?
I nominate Thomas Croner
Thomas Croner?
for Zoning Board of Appeals.
Yep. Are there any other nominations? Mr. Jeleniski.
I'd like to nominate the incumbent James Winus for the 3-year term.
James Wyman. Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? Mr. Engler.
Oh, no, I didn't have my hand up. Sorry, Chairman.
Oh, I see.
No, I was stretching.
Gotcha. Would somebody like to close nominations, please?
I'll move to close nominations.
Second.
Nominations are closed for the Zoning Board of Appeals. Madam Clerk, can we have a roll call, please, for Mr. Kramer and Mr. Wines?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Commissioner Jeleniski,
Winans.
Commissioner Horton,
Wine.
Commissioner, Commissioner Marino,
Cromer.
Commissioner Hope,
Wyans.
Commissioner Engler,
Wyans.
Commissioner Green,
Wines.
and Commissioner Swaney.
Wines.
We have Mr. Wyans receiving 6 and Mr. Cromer receiving 1. Mr. Wyans receives, is declared appointed.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
You're
He'll
welcome.
be notified he's on the Zoning Board of Appeals. He was the incumbent anyway there. Item N, and the last one we have to do is the Zoning Board of Appeals Chairman's request for nominations for one opening on the Isabella County Zoning Board of Appeals to complete a 3-year term ending December 31st, 2022, or until a successor is appointed. Nominations are now open. Are there any nominations?
I'd like to nominate Thomas Cromer,
Thomas Cromer.
Board of Appeals.
Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to move the nominations be closed and a unanimous ballot be cast for Thomas Cromer.
Is there support for that, Jerry?
Support.
Been moved and supported to nominate Thomas Cromer for the Zoning Board of Appeals for the ending term of December 31st, 2022. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Thomas Cromer has got it. That's the end of that, gentlemen. Quite an ordeal, but we got it. Item number 7 is the consent agenda. Commissioner Swaney, are you up to that?
I am up for it, Mr. Chairman. Consent
you.
agenda reads, motion. Move to approve and place on file the December 1st, 2020 regular meeting minutes, the December 8th, 2020 Finance and Administration Committee meeting minutes, the December 8th, 2020 Criminal Justice and County Affairs Committee meeting minutes, the December 8th, 2020 Human Resources and County Affairs Committee meeting minutes, and the November 26th, 2020 routine personnel items.
Support.
Been moved and supported to approve the consent agenda as read. Madam Clerk, a roll call, please.
Commissioner Hope,
Yes.
Commissioner Engler,
Yes.
Commissioner Jazinski,
Yes.
Commissioner Horton,
Yes.
Commissioner Marino,
Yes.
Commissioner Swaney,
Yes.
Commissioner Green.
Yes.
Number of votes cast is 7, ayes are 7, nays are 0. Motion passed, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. That brings us on to committee reports, Finance and Administration. Gentlemen, what do you have for us this evening?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First up on our list is the November 27th, 2020 invoice list, the December 4th, 2020 invoice list, and the December 10th, 2020 adjustment list. Motion reads, move to ratify and place on file the November 27th, 2020 invoice list in the amount of $59,197.30. The December 4th, 2020 invoice list in the amount of $563,563.55. And the adjustment list dated December 10th, 2020.
Support.
Is there support for that?
Support. Hope.
It's been moved and supported to approve the November 27th, 2020 invoice list, December 4th, 2020 invoice list, and the December 10th, 2020 adjustment list. Discussion.
This is going really back to old school again. I got papers and no double screens. And I had to, this could be, as county commissioners, we receive these by email each time we release from Chris Whitmer, our accountant. Each commissioner has a chance to review them, comment on it. We also had a chance to review the November 27th and December 4th invoices in our Finance and Administration Committee and also in our business session today. And along the biggest things on November 27th invoice list was, again, our contract with the HATS group. We had some Wolverine power systems, the CD 911 generator transfer switch for the buildings and grounds. A couple other little payments to the state of Michigan. And then December 4th, again, we had some jail associated payments being made. And those will come back to the county later on as we settle up and get ready for our big, large, small little project, small little 40-year plus thing ongoing. We had some other things paying off the public defender appointments. And then in our adjustment list, the Gordon Foods early payment discounts. So that's why those are being added into it because we get credit for paying early. And then there's a couple other things. Sales tax got removed off one and a balance was already paid. So just little cleanup items.
Any other discussion? Hearing no further discussion, Madam Clerk, another roll call, please.
Commissioner Engler,
Yes.
Commissioner Jazinski,
Yes.
Commissioner Horton,
Yes.
Commissioner Marino,
Yes.
Commissioner Swaney,
Yes.
Commissioner Hope,
Yes.
Commissioner Green.
Yes.
Number of votes cast is 7, ayes are 7, nays are 0. Motion passed, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Okay, item number 2 is Airport Joint Operations and Management Agreement. Motion reads, move to enter into the Airport Joint Operations and Management Agreement effective January 1st, 2021 in the annual amount of $5,000 and authorize the chairman of the Board of Commissioners to sign the same.
Support Horton.
It's been moved and supported to join the Airport Joint Operations and Management Agreement. Discussion.
Okay, so as our administrator controller explained in the work session, the city of Mount Pleasant, Isabella County, Union Township, and the Saginaw Chippewa Indian Tribe, along with Mid-Michigan Development Corporation, have been meeting over the last 5 years to discuss the operation of the airport and the economic impact that it has on the region. It's owned by the city, has been since 1940. It's grown significantly since then. In fact, last year there were 522 flights out of there. I was surprised to learn that. We have a lot of area businesses that use it, Bandit, Harley Davidson, Menards, Moorbark, CMU, Michigan State Police use it. The concert performers that the Saginaw Chippewa Indian Tribe brings in, they use the airport. So it has quite an economic impact on the area. Our cost to get on this board will be $5,000 a year. Will give us a partnership for future planning. That will be paid for out of the administrator controller budget. So it will not have a negative impact on the budget. Our legal counsel reviewed the document. Anything that they suggested has been incorporated into it. The city will remain the owner and employer for any employees they deem necessary, and this will be sort of an advisory board. We call the Joint Operations Board. We created for operations and management oversight. There will be 5 members on this board, one each appointed from the city, the county, Union Township, the tribe, and MMDC. All with different dates so that those terms will be staggered. And I think it's important, the agreement does state that the board may not levy any tax, issue any debt, create any obligation for any party except for the city as owner of the airport. So the city will continue to be the sole owner. The agreement does not establish a new entity. There were different opt-in amounts that we discussed in the work session. Our particular amount is $5,000. That's about it. I think it's a good opportunity for the county to sit on this board. And I think the airport is vital to this region's economy and probably will become more so in the future.
Any additional discussion? Hearing no further discussion, Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman.
Oh. Yes, Commissioner Jablonski.
I'm going to vote for the motion, but I just want to take one exception that it's not going to have an impact on our budget. I know it's being charged to a line item, which every bill we pay has to be charged to a line item. So charging it to the contractual line item either means that we're going to reduce funding somewhere else to cover it, or there's excess money in that line item that maybe has already been planned for that, or the line item is going to go into the red and we'll have to make an adjustment later. All I'm just saying is a word of caution as we move forward with new spending, that we need to be somewhat disciplined, because this jail is going to be a 40-year commitment that's going to have an impact on our operational budget. That said, I'm going to support the motion because I believe in these type of facilities being more regional in character.
Any other discussion? Hearing no further discussion, Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Jablonski,
Yes.
Commissioner Horton,
Yes.
Commissioner Marino,
Yes.
Commissioner Swaney,
Yes.
Commissioner Hope,
Yes.
Commissioner Engler,
Yes.
Commissioner Green.
Yes.
Number of votes is 7, ayes are 7, nays are 0. Motion passed, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, that completes the work of the Finance and Administration Committee.
Good job, gentlemen. That brings us down to Criminal Justice and County Affairs Committee. Gentlemen?
Our first item of business is the RAVE Mobile Safety Licenses and Service Order Form. Motion reads, move to approve the RAVE Mobile Safety Licenses and Service Order Form for the period of January 1, 2021 through December 31, 2024 in the amount of $41,200 and authorize the board chair to sign the same.
Support Engler.
Been moved and supported to approve the rave mobile safety licenses and service order form. Discussion.
The RAVE program is intended to replace Code Red, which is a emergency notification to our residents on things occurring in the county that might be hazardous or have safety implications to them. We're going to continue on Code Red through 2022 while we make a transition. Central Dispatch 911 will educate the public on moving from Code Red to get their data into the RAVE system. What I really like about it is we're going from an annual cost of $32,500 to an annual cost of $12,400, which represents an annual savings of $24,100. And it's a system that is really smart 911, next generation capability. So it's an improvement and great savings to the county.
Any additional discussion? I think Mark Griffith said also it'd take about a year to train the people out here to trade over to this from Code Red. When he was talking about it. Hearing no further discussion, Madam Clerk, a roll call, please.
Commissioner Horton,
Yes.
Commissioner Marino,
Yes.
Commissioner Swaney,
Yes.
Commissioner Hope,
Yes.
Commissioner Engler,
Yes.
Commissioner Jalzinski,
Yes.
Commissioner Green.
Yes.
Number of votes cast is 7. The ayes received 7, nays received 0. Motion passed, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
The next item is the CAD software upgrade, Central Square Technologies. Motion reads, move to approve the Isabella County computer-aided dispatch software upgrade proposal from Central Square Technologies in the amount of $74,409.85 for Isabella County Central Dispatch.
Support Engler.
Been moved and supported to approve the CAD software upgrade, which is the Central Squares technology. Discussion.
The current software is no longer being supported, and I think Mark indicated that there were 4 work orders that are multiple years old and haven't been acted upon. So this will move the computer-aided dispatch to a new system, which has some advantages when that system is upgraded. Right now, if you're going to upgrade the software, you've got to take a thumb drive to all the vehicles that have that to update it. Whereas the new system, you'll be able to do it remotely by putting in the address for that vehicle. And again, one of the nice things about it is that for the term of the 5-year contract, the Isabella County will save $63,675 on the system compared to what we're paying now. And in addition to this upgrade, Isabella County will save an additional $11,000 in total maintenance costs over the same 5-year period. So Mark really came through for the county.
Any additional discussion? Hearing no further discussion, Madam Clerk, another roll call, please.
Commissioner Marino,
Yes.
Commissioner Swaney,
Yes.
Commissioner Hope,
Yes.
Commissioner Engler,
Yes.
Commissioner Jalzinski,
Yes.
Commissioner Horton,
Yes.
Commissioner Green.
Yes.
Number of votes is 7. The ayes received 7, nays received 0. Motion passed, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Yes, our third and final item is resolution number 20-12-02, the Pappas Farmland Agreement partial termination. The motion reads as move to adopt resolution number 20-12-02, the Edward T. Pappas and Mary E. Pappas Farmland Agreement partial termination, and instruct the Isabella County Clerk to forward the approved application to the MDA Farmland and Open Space Program.
Support.
Been moved and supported to approve resolution number 20-12-02 for the Pappas Farmland Agreement partial termination. Discussion.
Yes, this is like it says in there, a partial termination of 1 acres with the buildings on there, squares it up. The paperwork all seems to be in order.
Any additional discussion? I just got one thing to say. I know all Gus and Ed and all the Pappases, and they're darn good people. He's only doing this just for, 'cause maybe he has to, somebody bought a house out of that or whatever, but great folks over there in Rosebush. Any additional discussion? All in favor of the motion? Oh, excuse me, I gotta have a roll call on this. I thought it was a freebie. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
I'll take a freebie. So Commissioner Swaney,
Yes.
Commissioner Holt,
Yes.
Commissioner Engler,
Yes.
Commissioner Jazinski,
Yes.
Commissioner Horton,
Yes.
Commissioner Marino,
Yes.
Commissioner Green.
Yes.
Number of votes cast is 7. The ayes received 7, nays received 0. Motion passed, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, that completes the work of the Criminal Justice and County Affairs Committee.
Good job, gentlemen. Moves us on to the Human Resource and Public Works Committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We have one item, and it is the Deerfield Nature Park Chippewa River Restoration Project. The motion reads, move to approve the preliminary grant request for the Saginaw Bay Watershed Initiative for the funds from Watershed Initiative Network, WIN, in the amount of $14,000 for the Deerfield Nature Park Chippewa River Restoration Project, and authorize the board chair to sign the same.
Support Swaney.
Been moved and supported to approve the Deerfield Nature Park Chippewa River Restoration Project. Discussion.
Okay, this project deals with the erosion problem. The county parks located along the Chippewa River include Deerfield Nature Park, Majeski's Landing, and Meridian Park. Due to the high use of these parks, high water and other water conditions, the banks of the river have erosion problem areas we need to stabilize. And working to improve these areas is our goal to prevent future embankment issues. And the main high use areas that need immediate attention are in Deerfield Park by the swinging bridge located just beyond the trailhead down from the main park entrance, and South Landing. So that's what this is all about.
Any additional discussion? Seems like a lot of high water all over the place, Jim.
Yeah.
Hearing the further discussion, Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Holt,
Yes.
Commissioner Engler,
Yes.
Commissioner Jazinski,
Yes.
Commissioner Horton,
Yes.
Commissioner Marino,
Yes.
Commissioner Swaney,
Yes.
Commissioner Green.
Yes.
Number of votes cast is 7. The ayes are 7, nays are 0. Motion passed, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
That concludes the work of the Human Resources and Public Works Committee, Mr. Chairman.
Good job, gentlemen. Item D, we have no intergovernmental affairs. Item E, the administrator controller issue on the resolution. Commissioner Hope, would you like to read that, please? Item number 1 under E.
Certainly, Mr. Chairman. Item number 1 says resolution number 20-12-03, local state of emergency extension. Motion reads, move to adopt Isabella County Board of Commissioners resolution number 20-12-03, local state of emergency extension, and authorize the board chair to sign the same.
Support Horton.
Been moved and supported to approve resolution number 20-12-03 on the local state of emergency extension. Margaret, you want to discuss that, or Commissioner Hope, you? Basically, this is just extending the closure that we went through here in March or April?
Yes, this is extending the previous, which is still into effect now, local state of emergency. This is just an extension so that in case there's extra funding that comes down, we already have the extension. This also will allow the Board of Commissioners and other boards and commissions of the county to continue to do remote meetings. And it just is a wise opportunity for us to pass the resolution. So in case we need it for any purpose in the future and the board isn't meeting for a week or so, we're covered. It's kind of,
It might go on for a while yet until this vaccine takes over, so
yes,
we got to include it. Any additional discussion? Hearing no further discussion, Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Engler,
Yes.
Commissioner Jazinski,
Yes.
Commissioner Horton,
Yes.
Commissioner Marino,
Yes.
Commissioner Swaney,
Yes.
Commissioner Hope,
Yes.
Commissioner Green.
Yes.
Number of votes cast is 7, ayes are 7, nays are 0. Motion passed, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Item number 9 is unfinished business. We have none. Under item 10, new business, item A. Commissioner Swaney, would you like to read that, please?
I don't know that.
Is he muted?
You're muted, Steve.
Thank you, everyone.
There you go.
Item A, Isabella County Board of Commissioners Organizational Meeting. Motion read. Move to set the 2021 Isabella County Board of Commissioners Organizational Meeting for Tuesday, January 5th, 2021 at 7 p.m.
Support.
Moved and
Jelezinski.
supported to approve the Isabella County Board of Commissioners Organizational Meeting 2021, January 5th, 2021 at 7 p.m. Any discussion? Pretty normal. First Tuesday in the new year. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried. You got your organizational meeting set up. Item B, Commissioner Horton, do you have that information?
Thank you. I'd like to make a motion, GELC, Letter of Understanding, Wage Reopener 2021. Motion. Move to approve the tentative agreement between the Isabella County Trial Court and Government Employees Labor Council, GELC, agreeing that 1% shall be added to the 2020 base wage scale effective January 1st, 2021, and authorize the board chair to sign the same.
Support, Marino.
Been moved and supported by Commissioner Marino to approve the what was that again? Can you put this? To approve the GELC letter of understanding on the wage reopener with a wage reopener in 2021. This is the agreement between the trial. Discussion.
Like it says, we have a 1% that matches the rest of the county employees at that was in our budget for the non-unionized departments and the employees in the county. Matches their cost of living 1% that we approved in our budget.
Any additional discussion? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Roll call.
Excuse me, gentlemen, we have to have a roll call on this because it's the wage agreement. My mistake.
Commissioner Jelezinski,
Yes.
Commissioner Horton,
Yes.
Commissioner Marino,
Yes.
Commissioner Swaney,
Yes.
Commissioner Hope,
Yes.
Commissioner Engler,
Yes.
Commissioner Green.
Yes.
Number of votes cast is 7. The ayes receive 7, nays receive 0. Motion passed, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Item C is the resolution to George A. Green. Commissioner Horton.
Yes, thank you. And before I do this, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to announce that I take great pride in the fact that I get to be the last person that you get to call a roll. This motion is a roll call motion. So resolution number 20-12-01, tribute to George A. Green. Motion, move to adopt Isabella County Board of Commissioners Resolution number 20-12-01, a tribute to George A. Green in recognition of outstanding public service, and authorize the board vice chair and county clerk to sign the same.
Is there support for that?
Support Engler.
Been moved and supported to approve resolution 20-12-01, a tribute to George A. Green. Any discussion?
The words all said earlier, the words that I said earlier, and I'm sure I echo every member of this board. Chairman Green, you've been both a mentor, and like I said, the biggest word I can think of you if I take away anybody would say, what's one word to describe George Green? Integrity. So it's been a pleasure, and I thank you.
Thank you very much, folks. I appreciate it. Madam Clerk, roll call, please. See if there's any no's.
Commissioner Horton,
Yes.
Commissioner Marino,
Yes.
Commissioner Swaney,
Yes.
Commissioner Hope,
Yes.
Commissioner Engler,
Yes.
Commissioner Jazinski,
Yes.
Commissioner Green.
Suppose I ought to move and approve my own resolution.
Number of votes cast are 6. Ayes received 6 and nays received 0. Motion
Thank you.
passed, Mr. Chairman.
Item number 11 is up to general public comment. Nicole, is there anybody in the room or waiting for comment to the board?
There is one hand raised at this time, Mr. Chairman.
Would you let that person in and get her phone
Person,
number or her phone number?
the hand is mine, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
There really isn't much left to say at this point in the night, but I wanted to publicly thank you for your 24 years of service to Isabella County. There's 2 things that strike me the most when I consider your service as a county commissioner and specifically as a chairman. The first is how you've managed to lead this county into battles, return her safely, and now you're leaving her to ride a fantastic wave of new economic development well into the next generation. And in this way, the impact of your service expands so greatly. The second thing that strikes me about your leadership is that you inspire others to service. And some of those people are in your audience tonight. And in this way, your service grows exponentially. And even though you won't be sitting at the dais, the impact of your service has a never-ending ripple effect. And I am proud to serve in your time, Chairman, and in the wake of your service. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Nicole. I appreciate every word you said. Almost heartbreaking. Nicole, of course, is my stepdaughter and love her to death as a person. Appreciate everything she does. I think she does good service for this county too. Very good service. Thank you again, Nicole. Is there anybody else waiting out there with their hand raised?
There is no one other than who you see on your screen.
Okay. Thank you very much. Moving on, next item's announcements and announcements.
Chairman Green, just like to state my condolences and best wishes and everything to the family of George Fisher, but we all know him in the community as Bud Fisher. Tremendous patriarch in our community. I met Bud through his daughter, who was married to one of my mentors in life. Known him since I moved into the town. Bud Fisher was someone who just a good person, just a super good person. So he will be missed. Also, too, I wish I had more to report as to the COVID-19 vaccine and the rollout. It is out now. I don't know exactly when Isabella County, how it's going to be affected. I think it's going to, my understanding is going to be distributed or made available through the health departments and through pharmacies. By the time our next January board meeting, we should probably have a good, possibly some planning going on more as far as availability goes to our community. So let's try to stay in touch. Again, this is rolling out fast, and documents after documents are having to be signed, and it looks like it's going to come again from the federal government, released through the manufacturers. It is not coming through the normal channels like through our drug wholesalers. So that's why I'm kind of unknown. I think with the first round, your normal pharmacies in town won't be able to store the -80. Some might. They got some depots or something, but that's an awful lot of coldness you have to acquire. I think the Moderna product with the refrigerated temperature is probably going to be more likely on the local level. but there's also some from AstraZeneca and some others too. So they all have about the same efficacy, about 95%. Looks like it's going to be a 2-shot regimen right now on most of them. As I explained earlier, in some of my ways that I like to explain, the first shot is going to kind of get you zoomed up, and as we're zooming here, kind of get you ready to go for the fight. And the second shot is going to put you directly into the fight, and hopefully you build up antibodies really quick. If anybody's had the Shingrix shot, think of it like that. First shot, you're going to feel a little bit of redness, and you're going to feel that. Second shot, you'll probably feel a little bit more. Things that I've heard is could be 1 to 2 days, a little bit down. So be ready for that. So I'll be able to give you more too, because I have 2 daughters in the healthcare field, one being an MD and one being a nurse. Both of them are on the front lines. My actual youngest daughter, who's a nurse, is actually on the COVID floors. So she is scheduled for her first injection in about a week. So it's going to be an interesting first quarter of this next year. And hopefully by spring or summer, we can get some semblance of normal. So again, I'll try to keep everyone on the board and the community updated as best I can. This is a good forum. But right now everything's coming in crazy, and it's just going to see, got to get the most vital people first. So that's all I have on that. So thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Harden. Any other announcements? Motion adjourned.
Motion to adjourn George Green's last meeting.
Support?
Support, Joe Lozinski.
We're adjourned.
Good luck and night, everybody.
Barbara, you tricked me.
I know it. Surprise.
Happy holidays, everyone. Stay safe. Stay healthy.
Bye, everybody.
Take care of yourself.